On this episode of Just Informed Talk, the latest new Q posts lay out exactly how Q is not violating the Hatch Act, although some senior Democrats seem to feel otherwise.
Follow White Rabbit. I'm taking potions, call me Alice.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. So first I want to say thank you for joining me here. If you guys haven't, make sure you come here, click the big red subscribe button. It helps the channel out more than you guys will know. And I really appreciate when you guys come do that. Make sure you hit the bell too for notifications to be notified when these videos get posted. Today's episode is going to be pretty intense. There's so much to go through here, and these are new Q posts, and he is coming out basically laying into everybody or everyone who's trying to say that Q is violating the Hatch Act. That was kind of my thought at first, was why we didn't hear from Q since October 9th had a lot to do with the Hatch Act. But in this episode, we're going to cover all of these new posts right here, and we're going to talk about them. So without further ado, I guess we're just going to jump right into the posts, okay? So right here is the first post, and it's from November 2nd, 2018 today, and it's saying this. It shows this picture of some MAGA Americans right there with their MAGA hat, you know, ready to go. I think this is the one, the kid who had written "Where we go one, we go all" on his hat and had it signed by President Trump. I believe that's what this picture is of. And I wish I could get mine signed. Maybe I'll have to send it in to President Trump and see if I can get a signature. That'd be kind of nice. But Q says this: ask yourself a very simple question. Why is the fake news media continually expending resources to defame, debunk, and cast as conspiracy for, as they say, a nobody who started on 4chan? Why did the fake news media attempt to cast blame on recent events on the Q movement? Was it an attempt to silence? And then the Q gives us this sample for the past 7 days. This is pretty, it's a lot of articles. I've been through most of them. I kind of read what they were in their little link descriptions. And because they have their little metadata tags that, you know, for the article. And yeah, I picked out some pretty interesting ones, but let's just go right through them all. Or not everyone. I'm just going to go over a few of them because there's a lot there. So you have articles like this talking about QAnon from Rolling Stone and how it's the dumbest story of the year, apparently, right? Thanks. And the next one here talks about Gab and how Gab was removed. They got no platformed for basically somebody going on their social media platform and making posts and then going out and committing a crime. To me, I don't understand how they're culpable or liable for the actions of somebody who's going out and taking the actions on his own. They should have no blame or responsibility for that. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but it's talking about how that far-right platform, is what they call it, was taken down after the Pittsburgh shooter was identified as being a part of that platform. He was a verified member, I believe, on Gab. Again, here's about the Pittsburgh shooter and how he had his anti-Semitic and views and other views that they call Gab, the alt-right site that everybody uses. You know, it's just ridiculous. And then here is basically just another article talking about don't blame Trump. This is one that was put in there. This is from the last 7 days. There's a lot of articles. But then talking again about the Pittsburgh shooter and how this Robert Bowers guy was an anti-Semite, obviously, social media posts. Vice talking about kicking Gab off the internet won't kill online extremism. It may make it worse. Oh, great. Yeah, because they're having the Keck flag here, which is not a white supremacist thing. It's just about a frog. I don't understand. Here's this article from, I think this was out of The Guardian. and it's talking about this woman who went through the rallies, Trump rallies, and then it has this little part of the article here where this woman has a Q on her face, and she's talking about Q, and they're just painting it in this very negative light, right? And then it's talking about, again, how the guy who did the Pittsburgh shooting, by the way, was very anti-Trump. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know how they try to conflate it and make it seem one way when it's another. But it talks here about the false flag theory on pipe bombs. This is from the New York Times, of course, the failing New York Times. And how it's all right-wing fringe to mainstream, how that's what it all came from, right? Here's a Washington Post article talking about how the mail bomb suspect and his connections to the conspiracy machine, right? Because we have thoughts that we hold, right? And Trump thinks he can rewrite the Constitution. Guess what comes next? And now they're painting our president as, you know, a dictator when any president is allowed to make executive orders. And I'm pretty sure President Obama made a lot of them. So, yeah, and then this is talking about a GOP-backed congressional candidate who is promoting QAnon in one of her videos, which, good for her. I mean, if she's getting the word out there, it was like a 9-minute video, they said, where she basically goes over the fact that the deep state occupies the highest levels of power, and the cabal includes members who are part of a dark and deeply sinister death cult with a strong reliance on symbolism and numerology, levels of cruelty unimaginable to all right-thinking people. And that's her opinion. That's what she says. So, I mean, she's entitled to have an opinion, right? Unless she's not, because she doesn't go along with the thought police. Yeah, your narrative. Can't go there. Now, this one talks about George Soros and how it was all like the conspiracy theory of how it was to draw U.S. voters ahead of the midterms. And it's just... 1 year later, if it's from the Daily Dot, has the QAnon movement finally fizzled out? No, it's still here. We're still working hard every day, and we're still covering this information. So I don't see any fizzling out. Again, this article here talks about the Nevada congresswoman who had the QAnon video. And yeah, so that's the lot of it. So then Q goes on to say, and there are many other articles in here, but I just, for time reasons, I didn't pull them all up, but a lot of them talk about the Pittsburgh shooter. They talk about all types of different stuff. So it says, or pretty much the same stuff that we covered, but just different words. And now it says, all for a LARP? Attack those who threaten you the most. Are we subject to the Hatch Act? Think executive branch, NSA, etc. Acceptable. Turn on comms. Filter applied legal analysis. Cannot point to any particular candidate or party prior to November 7th. We the people, fight, fight, fight. Your vote matters. We are in this together. This movement has no skin color. Attempts to label all those who challenge their narrative as racists, white supremacists will fail. Predictable Q. So that's exactly what it sounds like. I mean, that's Q basically telling us, look, that first of all, they label everybody a white supremacist, a bigot, a racist, who has an opinion that differs from the narrative or agenda that they're trying to put forth. Then they use that as a way to just dismiss anything you say. It's bigoted, or it's racist, or it's sexist, or whatever. It's an ist. You can't say it. Those words are not allowed by the thought police who are out there in full force working to, you know, keep us from having an opinion. But Q is actually making the case here that they are subject to the Hatch Act, but Q gave us this full readout on what you can do and can't do with regard to the Hatch Act. And we're going to look at that in the next one. But it is acceptable to turn on the comms right before the election to get this word out so that people know what's going on. And like I've said before, Q is Trump, military intelligence, and others around him in his circle. And that's what we're getting. We're just getting information that the fake news media won't share with us. And what's wrong with that? What are they terrified of? Are they terrified of us knowing the truth about some of the corruption? Well, we're starting to learn it anyway. You know, the Inspector General's report laid out a lot of things. There's a lot of questions still about Hillary Clinton's email investigation. There's a lot of things that we still need to know that have never been made clear. So, excuse me, that is what that is. Now, the next one here is this from Q. And it is talking about how they did not violate the Hatch Act. So in that last post that we just read, Q points to this, what we looked at. It says, are we subject to the Hatch Act? Think executive branch, right? So then you go over here and it shows who is basically under the purview of the Hatch Act, right? And it talks about the Office of the Director of Intelligence, the ODNI, the Central Intelligence Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, National Security Council, National Security Division, DOJ, Criminal Division, DOJ, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Secret Service, Office of Criminal Investigations, IRS, Office of Investigative Programs, Customs, Office of Law Enforcement, ATF. So is this what Q is made up of? I mean, are these people that have high ranks that work inside these organizations? Is that what Q is making the reference to? It seems like it to me, right? So that's fascinating just in and of itself. But then what Q wants us to look at is this, where it says, is it acceptable to turn on comms, filter applied legal analysis, can not point to anything particular or party prior to November 7th, particular candidate or party. It says, we the people, fight, vote, vote matters. You are in this together, or we are in this together, excuse me. This movement has no skin color. So then what Q wants us to look at are these things right here, where it gives you what you can, if you're an employee, right? So if you're Q and you're working for the government, what would constitute a violation of the Hatch Act would be things here you can't do. And then here are things you can do, right? You can register and vote as you choose. You can assist in voter registration drives. You can attend political fundraising functions and attend political rallies and meetings. You may express opinions about candidates and issues. If the expression is a political activity, however, activity directed at the success or failure of a political party candidate for partisan political office or partisan political group, then the expression is not permitted while the employee is on duty in any federal room or building while wearing a uniform or official insignia or using any federally owned or leased vehicle. So it's basically saying you can have an opinion, but that opinion can't be directed at any particular candidate or party, political party. So nothing that Q is saying is directed at any candidate or political party. He's basically talking about the news and social media and these tech giants and what they're doing, right? So that's what I think Q wants us to look at. That's how you should read this. It says Q has not violated the Hatch Act. So I think that's what we are pointed to. And then Q gives us this little insight. It says, why did select senior members of the Democratic Party 6 send a letter to Don McGahn in early October outlining Hatch Act violations regarding Q? FOIA works in this situation, Q. So what that's talking about is Don McGahn, who is a former official in the Trump, is a top advisor to President Trump, and I think he stepped down a few months back, and he's in another position in near Trump, basically President Trump. And what it's talking about here is that 6 senior members of the Democratic Party sent a letter in early October trying to accuse QAnon of being in violation of the Hatch Act, which that may be why they stopped posting. That may be why they had to go get some lawyers to look at it and decide whether or not, posting before the election would be legal. And they probably have thought out the full legal implication of violating the Hatch Act. So now they know what to say, what they can and can't say. And technically they're going to stay within those bounds. And that's what it seems. And then after the election, we can get back to talking about candidates and political parties, right? So, yeah. And notice there that wouldn't constitute a violation of the Hatch Act because it just says senior members of the Democratic Party. It's not saying anybody. It's making a statement of fact if they sent that letter. Okay, now there's one that's not put up here on this for some reason, and it's this post right here. And it talks about memes, right? Interesting, I know. But it says, there is a reason why we encourage memes so much. There's a reason why we came here to drop. There's a reason why they are all working overtime to build code to censor and defend against memes, reread drops regarding memes, all just a coincidence, directed at Q, fire when ready Q. So that means get your memes out. If you guys don't know how to make a meme, learn. It's easy. You can probably watch a million videos on YouTube and show you how to do it. But you just need to get that information out there, and we're going to look at some memes that Q points us to that I think really make a difference here. But this is the previous post from September 18th that Q's pointing us to, where it talks about Q directing us to actually get our memes out. Because it says the non-NSA tech today cannot read or filter those memes. Now, that is not necessarily going to be true forever. They're going to continue to develop, and like you said, they're developing, they're building code to censor and defend against memes. Defend? Defend against what? The free flow of information, people making satirical observations of reality, of objective fact. That's what they're terrified of. They're terrified of us using objective facts to make clever insights. And that's what's terrifying. But the next one here was from September 16th. That was from September 10th. This is from September 16th, where it says, buckle up, memes at the ready. And it gives these stories about how the Facebook can't get the memes and all that stuff. They can't pick them up. And then it gave this Hillary Clinton status where it talks about defining projection. And it says the DC panic is real. Think about real-time Q tracking. September 10th drop regarding memes, non-NSA ability. September 13th and 14th, 2 articles dropped regarding Facebook memes. September 16th, 2 articles dropped highlighting examples. And September 18th, Wire responds, 1 article, memes and Q, the war is real. And then it gives this Washington Post article about conspiracy theories and spreading through the darkest internet corners. And it says the power you have is real, fight, fight, fight Q. And that's the one that Q responds to here. Now, why is that important? I think it's important because we have to realize the power of memes. But Q is giving us the heads up and saying, look, they're working overtime to build ways to censor us. That's why I can't post a video. You know, I'm not getting the full organic reach of my YouTube channel. I have 140, almost 1,000 subscribers. And my videos sometimes, you know, can get 15, 20,000 views. And it's obvious. It's obvious that it's people aren't allowed to see the info. It's being throttled, the view count. And that it's just, to me, that's what I believe. But that doesn't mean it's true. It's just my opinion. But that just times 1,000 with everyone else. I mean, everyone else on the internet. They even, on Twitter, they talk about doing it to anyone. They were shadow banning congressmen. So guys, they don't have any problem doing that. And that's exactly what this is referring to. But we need to get the memes out there. And we need to make it quite obvious that we are ready to basically combat their narrative with our own objective facts that make clever and funny insights. So now the next one says never forget, and it gives this Time article about the 25 most influential people on the internet. Those people, one of which being Q, of course, and that I thought was interesting. Now, this next one here, it says, why doesn't the media remember this? And this is President Trump being given the Ellis Island Award for contributing to the conditions of inner city black youth, standing alongside Muhammad Ali and Rosa Parks. Yeah, but he's a racist, right? The truth is there is truth in memes, truth that destroys the fake news narrative, House of Cards Q. And that's just saying exactly what it's saying, that when you see President Trump here being given the Ellis Island Award for helping inner city black youths, you know, how could you, there's a track record of non-racist history of Donald Trump. And it's just, you know, but the media will do whatever they have to portray him a certain way. The next one here is another meme talking about how memes work. It says, is Trump a racist? If your answer is yes, then you have been successfully brainwashed by the MSM. And it shows him with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and other leaders. And it's saying the truth will set you free, Q. It's just another point that Q is trying to make there. Now, here's an interesting one. This gives us this New York Times map. It's like a heat map, an election heat map that is basically showing the whole country, right? And Q says, cross-reference blue areas with illegal immigrant high population zones. You might be shocked what you discover, the real truth about why Democrats depend on illegal immigrants and why they care about them more than you, or more about them than you. Facts matter, hashtag facts matter Q. Okay, yeah, I mean, somebody, and then in the very next one here, somebody did it. And Q responds to his own post here, and Q shows this heat map, right? And then with the illegal undocumented immigrants and where they're suspected to be in high volume. And you guys can see here, I mean, look, it's obvious. You can see right here that the blue areas almost line up exactly with, so the Democrats are obviously pandering to people who are in their districts, and that's a part of the process. Now, I'm not saying that they're all undocumented immigrants, that's foolish, but the reality is that these go together quite ominously, and that is where I'll leave that. But it says, amazing, Q says, amazing what you discover when you research for yourself. God bless you, Patriots, Q. Now this gives the Twitter account of the guy who made that post, and shout out to Zach Q Attack at the Great Storm. Good job getting picked up by Q, and it kind of just says that and shows the picture, so that's where Q got it. Great, right? Awesome. Now it says nothing to see here, and it gives this Twitter status, which to me is wow. So this is a Twitter status from Senate Judiciary Committee, which talks about how Chairman Grassley, you guys got to hear this, Chairman Chuck Grassley referred Judy Monroe Layton to the Justice Department for investigation for making materially false statements to the committee during the course of its investigation. Now it gives this official document, right? Now when I read through this, it's almost unbelievable. There was an anonymous letter given to Kamala Harris's office that actually detailed how Justice Kavanaugh and some other individual committed violent acts of sexual violence against a woman, right? Who said that she had been basically attacked by Kavanaugh and another individual. And this letter was written anonymously. There was no reference to where it happened, when it happened. It was just, it said that it occurred in the back of a car, and that this person was from California, and that that they had been basically assaulted. And Kamala Harris entered that into the record. So the committee started doing an investigation. And part of their investigation was trying to identify who the anonymous woman was who made this letter, who wrote this letter, right? So in doing so, they actually put the letter out. They made the letter public back on October 3rd. And they made the transcript where they actually, could you imagine from Justice Kavanaugh that, he unequivocally denied it, but they sat him down for an interview where they read this entire letter that describes in graphic detail how this woman was allegedly assaulted, right? And anyway, this all goes on to say that Chuck Grassley wants to refer this woman who came forward after the transcript was made public, claiming that she was the actual woman who anonymously wrote the letter, the Jane Doe who signed it. That was the letter was signed Jane Doe. So what basically came of it is that they started investigating her, and they started asking her all these questions about where she lived. Turns out she lived in Kentucky. She was older, way older. The timelines wouldn't have fit for what she was saying. And she admitted to making materially false claims about being the person who anonymously wrote this letter and was allegedly assaulted by Justice Kavanaugh and another man. So when basically pushed, she says right here, it says, in short, during the committee's time-sensitive investigation of allegations against Judge Kavanaugh, Ms. Monroe Layton submitted a fabricated allegation which diverted committee resources. When questioned by committee investigators, she admitted it was a ploy, quote unquote, and a tactic, quote unquote. She was opposed to Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation. So that's literally the type of level of people out there. They're willing to go that far, and so she's being recommended for criminal investigation, and I think rightfully so. So for making a false claim like that, that's despicable. And this is just another example, and that's what Q says, nothing to see here. So look, that's what we're dealing with, guys. So I hope that you guys just hang in there. So that's going to be it for me. Before we go, a few more things I want to talk about. First of all, if you haven't come here, click the big red subscribe button. It helps the channel out big time. Make sure you watch these videos. If you're scratching your head going, what's QAnon? What's this guy been droning on about forever? Watch this video right here. This what is QAnon, the Great Awakening. Share this on your social media. Get that word out there. Also watch these last few videos if you want to get caught up. And make sure you leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments, because I'd love to hear what you have to say about all of this. Now, with that being said, a couple other ways you can help out the channel. Come over here and find me on Twitter, and that's at Justin_formed on Twitter. This helps out the channel out more than you guys will know, and I'm very thankful when you guys come here and check that out. Also, you can help out financially. There's a couple ways to do it. First of all, you can come over here to Patreon, or you can go over here to GoFundMe. But first, if you want to do Patreon, it helps out the channel more than you guys will know. It's a monthly donation. You can give as little as $1 or as much as you want. Set it and forget it, and know you're helping create this great content. It's Patreon, patreon.com. Search Justin Form Talk. You hit this button when you come to this landing page to become a patron. And like I said, guys, thanks for sticking with me. You know, I'm trying to get new equipment. I'm getting basically, I have a whole new studio set up. I have new editing software. I'm doing a lot of different things now for you guys, and I'm trying to change the format to continue to evolve to make content that you guys appreciate and can use. So if you guys like the content and you guys want to help support the channel, you know I'm not going to get any monetization half the time through YouTube, because apparently, you know, I'm so controversial, right? Having an opinion and all. But that is how you support the channel, is to come over here to Patreon, or you go to GoFundMe and you can make a one-time donation. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. Click this button to donate. You can make a one-time donation or an anonymous donation, and that helps out the channel more than you guys could imagine. So with that being said, I want to take a second here and talk about the most important part, and that is God's grace and how it is greater. So on this segment's God's grace is greater, what I want to talk about is this right here. This is a verse out of 1 Corinthians, and it's from chapter 10, verse 23. Now, why is this verse important? This one little verse, it talks about Christian liberty. And I want to just give this to you. I want you guys to hear this. It says, everything is permissible, but not everything is helpful. Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up. No one should seek his own good, but the good of the other person. And I can't stress that enough. When you want to get that message out there of God's grace and how it is greater, and you want to share it with a friend and you want to bring them up, remember that verse. Remember that, you know, we have the freedom given to us by God to do whatever we want, right? We have that liberty inside of us that's inherent to who we are and how we act. And but being a Christian is understanding that though everything is permissible, not everything helps to build up. Not everything helps to make others better. Not everything helps to create a better world. So that's where we have to make those calculated decisions as Christians on how to help the world, how we can spread that light, how we can bring our truth and our light to others and share it with them in hopes to open their hearts up to make the world a better place. So all I can recommend, though, is having strong faith in God, praying, going to church, participating in your community, getting out there, helping others. These are things that you can do. And I pray that each and every one of you get out there and help the world, make it a better place, and do your part as a Christian to not just have your liberty, but use it wisely. So that to me is where I'm going to sign off. I want to say thank you for watching. If you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the big red subscribe button right here on the landing page. And but that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.
Wow.